welcome to throw those in the chat. And we'll be getting started here in just a minute. Let's see, I got Abby on here. What's up? My name is Joe. I know we haven't met in person yet. I've emailed you. It's good to meet you. I think I've got everybody. I don't know if I've got everybody automatically muted. Yeah, I do. Let me turn that off there. Y'all should be able to unmute yourselves now if you want to. We're going to get started here in about 1 minute. Because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get deep into it, and about 10 people are going to try to hop in. I see Coach Stephanie's on. What's up, Stephanie? They're both Stephanie. Sue Kim, I'm assuming you can see, I just want to make sure, like, is all you can see, like you can see me, but on the main part of the screen I'm sharing, is it just the Google slide that you can see? You can just do like is there other stuff on the screen? Let me let her in here. Let's see. Should say it's game time. I got my screen shared. Yeah, it says I'm sharing. Let's do this. Let me hop on here and double check what everybody's seeing. All right, cool. What else we got? Jeannie Rumsey. You can see the slides and the other people. That's perfect. That's all I was wanting to know. Thanks, Sue Kim. Got Peggy White and Stephanie. Eating a late dinner, don't want to be rude. Or happy kickoff. Right on. Be good. What's up, Trisha? Oh, there you go. All right, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get started. Y'all are probably going to see me get interrupted a few times because we're right at that time when most people will be jumping on here, but I am going to mute everybody, and you will not be allowed to unmute yourself until we get to the question answer part at the end. And this should not take too long. I'm going to try my best to leave that chat up. All right. So everybody, welcome to the 2020 Clean and Lean Challenge. I am super pumped to get this challenge started. This is probably my favorite one that we do all year. We've got several people on here who have not done one of our challenges before. Welcome. Really, really glad to have you. I think I've met everybody. You guys know me. I'm Coach Joe. We're going to talk about the other coaches here in just a minute. Some of you might not know it, but what's up, Jeannie? I see you now. We do these challenges about once a quarter. This is one of our main ways of doing nutritional coaching here at BFP, and we do sort of different approaches for some of these challenges. We kind of treat it like interval training. During certain times of the year when we tend to know people are able to really be on it, that's when we like to help the most. So we run these nutritional programs to help people the most and help them really dial in their nutrition. And then hopefully you'll take at least one or two things from this, and it will go with you beyond what we're getting ready to do today or what we're going to do over the next 4 weeks together. This challenge is quite a bit different than the other ones that we do because our main focus here is not carbs or proteins or fats. It's not necessarily how many calories you're bringing in, although that's important. It's all about eating as close to nature as you can. So our goal is to help you over the next 4 weeks experience the power of real, whole, delicious, unprocessed foods. And generally speaking, for most people, that can help you lose some unwanted weight, but it can definitely help you achieve the health that most of us need. And we'll talk about how it can help you lose weight as well. This challenge, like I said, is different from the ones in the past, and we're not going to vilify any foods. We're not going to vilify any macros like proteins, fats, or carbs. If you eat meat and potatoes, it's all good. the objective over the next 4 weeks is, like I said, just to eat as close to nature as you can. And that means lots of veggies, lots of meats if you eat meat, lots of fruits. We can eat legumes, nuts, seeds, unprocessed grains. It just means real food from nature, not Nature Valley bars. Okay, so there is a difference. We're going to talk about that a little bit as we go through this. So first off, most of you have probably met all these folks on this slide. I'll go ahead and talk about the one guy, the guy with the sunglasses on his hat, Blake. That is a coach who used to work for us. He occasionally will be with us. You probably won't get to meet him unless we have a big event. He comes to help out. He worked for us for several years. But if we start on the far left, bottom corner, that is Nick in that camo green shirt. Nick has a bachelor's degree in exercise science. He is our evening guy. You'll see him then. Directly above him is Coach Jay. Jay is sort of out of commission. You might see her occasionally. She is due to give birth later this month. So with her third boy, actually. So I don't know how much you'll see her, but you will hear from her. She is going to be helping coach through the Facebook group. She also has some of you assigned to her specifically in the My Coach app, so you may hear from her that way. The beautiful, amazing woman to the right of Jay with the blondish hair is my wife, Melody. You may hear from her sometimes. She'll be going through this challenge with you. She just had our third child, our baby girl, Bella, about 3 months ago. Then you got me in the middle. Then down below in the black shirt with the red BFP symbol on it, that is Emily. Emily is our new client relations specialist. So she took over a lot of what my wife was doing. So you may hear from her, just checking in to see how you're doing. If you have any questions, you can always ask her. If they're coaching or nutrition specific, of course, we have ways for you to ask the coaches. You got the guy with the beard. That's Silas. His beard is probably 4 times longer than that now, as is his hair curling up the back of his hat. And then the bottom right, you got Coach Stephanie, who is actually on here with us. So that's the whole squad right there. We all work really, really well together. We communicate really well. And I think everybody gets something different out of every staff member. Everybody on our staff has at least a bachelor's degree. It's very, very important to us. Education, we think it not only shows integrity, but it shows character when somebody devotes that much time to their education. And everybody's got a bachelor's degree in exercise science, or Stephanie's elementary education. Emily's working towards her bachelor's degree, even though she's not a coach. My wife is a nurse. So we've got a nice educated bunch that really all we do is fitness and nutrition, and that's what we're here for. We love it, and we're here to work with you guys through it. So we're going to talk a couple logistic things before we get into the nutritional stuff. This won't take too long, but if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I will make sure to answer them as we're going through this. So first, this is the picture of what the My Coach app looks like when you download it. This is our accountability tool, right? So we can hold folks accountable on a daily basis with this. We can spend 3 to maybe 5, 6 hours with you in the gym, but for most people, that's not where the problem or what they really need is. Most folks have trouble the other 23 hours of the day when they're not in the gym. And our My Coach app is our answer for that. And it's a way for us to communicate with you outside the gym in a professional way, but also in a way that we can track habits and see if you're staying compliant with the stuff we're trying to get you to work on. So each participant, each of you will get a daily push notification in your My Coach app. So make sure you have those notifications on. They should automatically be on. But it's going to ask you if you followed the clean and lean guidelines from the day before. If you answer yes, we'll have a green check mark on our end. If you answer no, we'll have a red check mark. There's also a place that you can notate in case there was little things that might have been a little bit different, which is fine. Like I said, you have the option to leave a message, and then the coaches will get a weekly report. Everybody's going to get assigned to a specific coach. This is the way we do our programs now, and that gives you more individualized attention and gets you somebody following you, holding you accountable the whole way along, so we can check if you're being compliant or not. So not only do we communicate through this app, but we need to make sure that you're answering yes or no each day. And we need to make sure that you are reading the daily nutritional lessons. So I'm going to be going live often in the Facebook group. I have educational lessons based on what you're going to get in this app going up in the Facebook group as well. But the good stuff, the meat and potatoes of what we want you to learn is in this app. And then we're going to have discussions about what we learn in this app on the Facebook group throughout. So make sure you are reading those daily nutritional lessons as we go through. What it's going to look like roughly, this is a slightly older version with these pictures, but you can see on the far left side of the screen what it might look like. So today's practice talks about accessing the Facebook group. Hopefully everybody has gotten that information through email and you've asked to be in the Facebook group for this challenge. If you have not, make sure you do that. You should have an email with that information. But that's what the nutritional lesson each day will look like in there. And then to the slide to the right, you can see where it says, yesterday, did you read your lesson? Yes or no. And then you can write a comment for your coach right below that. So it still looks very similar to that. There's also places for you to enter in the data from your InBody scan that we're going to have you go through if you haven't already done it, which you'll see, we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. So that's the main focus with the My Coach app: accountability outside of the gym, daily nutritional lessons, and habit tracking. That's what we are trying to do. And it's also a communication tool for you with your coach. Now, what you see here is me and Miss Maggie going on the InBody 270 machine. If you have not done this, you need to do this as soon as possible. And there's some guidelines that we follow to make this machine accurate. So it's going to measure, it's going to tell us how much body fat you have, your body fat in pounds. It's going to tell us your body fat percentage, how much muscle you have in pounds, as well as how many calories you burn at rest. Now you can see the guidelines here on the left side of the screen to keep this thing accurate. These are very important. And we want to make sure that however we do this, we duplicate the testing conditions the last time at the end of the challenge when you do this as they were the first time. So I'll say that one more time. However, what time of the day and whatever conditions we're under when you do your first InBody test, we want to make sure they're the same at your last InBody test. So the general guidelines to follow, we want to make sure it's 2 to 3 hours after a meal. Now InBody has been telling us 3 hours is better than 2. Use the bathroom before the test if possible, and make sure you've been standing for about 5 minutes if you can before the test as well. We don't want to shower right before. We don't want to test like right in the middle of the time of the month where you might be having your period. And we want to make sure to retest, like I said, under the same conditions as the pre-test. So if you don't meet all those requirements when you come in to get on there, like we don't want to have just chugged a bunch of coffee or had a meal, we can still complete the test, but for the highest level of accuracy, we need to follow those things. Again, let's just make sure that whatever we do at the end is the same as what we do at the beginning. So that is the InBody, and that is our very accurate way to test. So that's the logistics stuff. Facebook group, make sure you request access. Make sure you got the My Coach app. Everybody should have the Zen Planner app to sign up for your sessions. Now we're going to talk about food a little bit. So got a whole bunch of Twinkies on this screen right here. I actually haven't had a Twinkie in a long time, and not because I eat healthy, just because I hardly ever buy Twinkies, but I remember them being pretty tasty. It'd probably be good to dip in this coffee right here. So I want to talk a little bit about eating whole foods as it pertains to losing weight, because this tends to be probably what's most important to people. And then we're going to get into the resources that you get for the challenge and a general nutritional approach. So you can believe it or not, you can lose weight by eating nothing but Twinkies all day, every day. I'm not kidding. It's a real thing. There's something called the Twinkie diet. And Twinkies are honestly about as processed or unnatural, they have to make them, as anything can get. But here's the thing. If you were going to lose weight eating Twinkies all day, you can only eat like 8 or 9 of them because they have so many calories in them. Nothing else. That's it. If you wanted to lose weight, you can only eat about 8 or 9 Twinkies. I know this is kind of an extreme example, but I just want to show you how things work. And that I want you to understand that the weight loss is possible with food like Twinkies. It's also very possible with whole foods, but I'm going to show you why it's easier when we're eating whole foods. And when we eat whole foods, we bring in more nutrients along with the calories that we bring in. Whereas when we eat something like a Twinkie, we bring in a lot less. So let's talk about it. 8 to 9 Twinkies, right? It's not a lot of food. Like I could eat 8 to 9 Twinkies sitting at the table one time. There's a professional eater named Joey Chestnut who actually ate 121 Twinkies in 6 minutes. So I think I could eat 8, I'm sure. So then you'd have to eat water the rest of the day until you got your next round of Twinkies. Obviously, this is not sustainable. Honestly, you can lose weight on any diet as long as you keep your calories in check. So this doesn't mean that your body won't rebel against you. You might be hangry, you might be craving everything that moves, but you can still lose weight if we are in a calorie deficit. So that brings us to the question of goals, right? Like, what is the goal of this challenge? What's your goal with this challenge? If it's simply to have a lower number on the scale, then you can eat Twinkies all day. If your goal is to be healthier and have a lower body fat percentage, then we should probably focus more on whole, unprocessed foods. You could do it with processed foods. It's true. You just aren't going to be able to eat very much of it. The processed stuff generally packs, like things that come in boxes and packages, an enormous amount of calories with not very much nutrient density. When we get into let me give you a visual. So here you can see 1,350 calories on the left of a Big Mac, a fry. I think that was a medium fry, if I remember, and a medium Coke. Because the Big Mac's only about 500 to 590 calories by itself. I know this because I've worked it into my diet before. But you're at 1,350 calories of what you see on that screen. But you can also eat 17 apples and get 1,350 calories. And those are good, beyond medium-sized apples. So you're probably going to be more full with those apples. You're going to get a ton more nutrients that you need from those apples outside of protein than you would from something like a Big Mac and fries. But I just wanted, the idea of caloric and nutrient density is the reason why we emphasize real foods so much. So you can eat more real food and lose weight because real foods have fewer calories per pound. Not only will it keep you full, but it'll naturally help you eat more appropriate amounts of food. And your health will improve because of the micronutrients you get from the whole foods, like the vitamins and the minerals, phytochemicals that real food has. So we talked about the two comparisons on the screen. And even a small person, right? Even somebody who's not, 6'2", 300 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it might be, wouldn't have a problem eating a Big Mac and fries and a soda in a sitting very easily. Now, I don't think anybody could eat 17 apples in one sitting. Not unless you're a professional eater like we talked about the Twinkie guy earlier, right? So even if you were, we think it would be pretty challenging. The bottom line is calorie for calorie, you get more with real, whole, unprocessed food. And in case you aren't convinced, we're going to look at one more example. So you've got one large high-calorie meal on the left, right, with dessert. And then we have several meals and snacks on the right. So basically you've got one day's worth of food on the left in one meal. You've got a whole day's worth of food on the right as well, but you've got it in 3 meals plus snacks, and you're getting a ton more nutrients. So look at the amount of food you get with the real whole foods on the right versus the processed foods on the left. They're really close in calories overall, but the amount of food is vastly different. And this isn't just some pictures I threw up on the screen. This is actually from a university. Which option do you think is going to keep you full and energetic throughout the day? We get calories from processed foods. We also get calories from whole foods because processed foods have way more calories per unit of space, right? I talked about calorie density. You don't get as much actual food if you want to equal the calories of the whole foods that you can bring in. So not to mention, you'll miss out on the nutrients that come with the whole foods like we talked about earlier. So this challenge, the purpose of this challenge, hopefully this is giving you an illustration of why it can be so beneficial beyond just vitamins and minerals, but how it can be beneficial for you to keep things simple and just eat real foods. Now, if you have any questions, again, just throw them in the chat and I'll make sure I answer them. So we're going to go through the resources for this challenge now. And this is the first one. And for me, this is probably the most important one that I want to make sure everybody has a grasp on. There was a link to these resources in the email you got from us when you first signed up for this challenge. So this is the general routine that we want you to strive for in this challenge each week. Now, it might be slightly different, right? It might not be completely like this every week, but it should be something very, very similar to this. So we want you to plan for your upcoming week, right? That's where you're going to create your meal map, which we're going to show you here in a few minutes. And then you get your grocery list based off of that. Then go ahead and have a meal or have some snacks, a snack, then go grocery shopping. Don't do it when you're hungry. Stick to what you got on your list, okay? Very, very important. Don't allow those impulsive marketing things to get into your head and get you to start buying extra stuff. Then you want to bulk cook something. And I realize that this can be time consuming for a lot of people. Now, I know some of this might be a little bit hard for you to read, especially if you're on a phone. I'm just reading it right off of the screen. But Again, you have access to this where you can print it out and see it on a full screen as well. So we want you to bulk cook. I like to usually bulk cook probably 2 times a week, because I find that if I do it all for a full week once, I don't like it like halfway through the week. So you can do this with your veggies for your meals if you want to. Personally, I'm not a big fan of leftover veggies, so I buy lots and lots of frozen veggies that are low calorie. They might even have some sauces on them, but they're low calorie and they're veggies, so they're very nutrient dense, and I'm able to cook those quickly whenever I need to eat. That counts as a natural food. You can always read the ingredients on there, but that way they're not leftovers. I'm just not big on leftover veggies. And then I'll bulk cook my protein. So I'll get like a couple of throwaway tins, put some chicken in one with some kind of rub or barbecue sauce or something that I make on it, and then some chicken in another one. Do the same thing. You can do it with beef. You can do it with really any kind of thing. I mean, any lean protein. You can use fish, all kinds of different stuff. And then it's a different conversation if we're going to talk about plants only. But I can tell you that if I can get you to bulk cook this stuff, and then maybe take another step and go ahead and put it into containers for the week so you have it for your lunches, you will be so much more successful. And everybody's got different ways of doing this. So there's no wrong way. The key is just to be as prepared as you possibly can. Everybody's different. And if you check into the Facebook group, you'll find everybody has different ways that they like to do this. Now, we also want to go ahead and schedule your workouts. This is done in Zen Planner. You can schedule up to 14 days out. It's important because if you miss it, we're going to reach out to you. If you don't show up for a couple of weeks, we're going to reach out to you. So it helps us hold you accountable, but it also helps, that way we know how many people to expect. We are limited to 16, but we know to expect you. And we care if you show up here at Breakaway. So it's another layer of accountability for you. And I think that's part of what you pay for when you join a facility like ours. So make sure you schedule those sessions, commit to working out, commit to your health. And then you're going to be checking in every week. So as you check in, you can just check it off this sheet. There's 6 of those there. We're only going to do this for 4 weeks. You can also take your InBody information and write it on the right side if you want to, or you can take a picture of your InBody information with your phone, or you can download the InBody app, which will have all of that information in it as well. So all you need to do is print this out, put it on your fridge, and you got a good reminder that's visual all the time. You've also got some quick eat and drink this ideas on the left, and don't eat and drink this on the right. So you got more processed, less natural stuff on the right, more natural, unprocessed stuff on the left. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a little while. Facebook group, weekly check-in. Every Friday, we're going to have a check-in. A lot of times we've done the same questions like what you see on the screen. Rate your week 1 to 5. Tell us one thing you can do to be more successful next week, and ask the group and the coaches any questions you might have. We're going to mix it up this challenge. You're going to see some different questions, different pictures, different little videos and such on the check-ins each week. Just make sure you're seeing those and that you're responding to them, because the coach that's assigned to you will follow up with you there. Each check-in is also going to prompt you to go into your My Coach app and send your coach a message so that you can check in with them personally once a week, especially if you're not comfortable doing it on the Facebook group, or if you have something you want to talk about a little more privately, one-on-one with your coach. But engage in the Facebook group. Post pictures of your food to help hold you accountable. Some people love to do that. They'll post every single meal, and we absolutely welcome it. Make sure you do the check-ins. Read the stuff we put in there. The more engaged you can be in this group, the more dialed in, the more likely you'll be to be thinking about eating whole foods, and the more natural it will come, the more successful you will be. I promise. We've been seeing it for years. Sue Kim, I love chocolate as well. Trust me. It's a part of my diet on a regular basis. Slide something out of the way here. All right. This is our clean eating guide. So if you want the easy button, here it is. Remove all the packaged and processed foods from your house and replace it with whole foods. If you need more direction, just follow the guidelines that we have below. This isn't an exhaustive list, but it's a pretty comprehensive one. So when we're looking at beverages, focus mostly on non-calorie containing things. For the most part, we're going to lay off dairy on this challenge. So you can see water, coffee, tea, unsweetened, unflavored, nut milks, things like that. I know everybody's going to be like, oh, I just got to have my little bit of creamer in my coffee. I encourage you. So if you have to, that's fine. But the goal of this challenge is to come away from that. So maybe look for some natural options, some that are more based on nut milks, things like that, or some very clean dairy versions. Or start working on black coffee a little bit, because you start to learn to appreciate the taste of it and different types and where they come from different regions and things. It's pretty interesting. Snack bars, none. You're going to focus on fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds. So you can just make up bag mixes of those. Fats, you get it from fish. We can get it from coconut oil, avocado oil. Olive oil is probably the best. Then, of course, nuts and seeds. And notice nuts and seeds aren't listed under proteins because they're not a great source of protein, but they are a great source of fat. If we're going to eat some sweets, our goal here is to stick to fruits and berries, unsweetened plain yogurt that you can add some berries and things to. We're going to have some recipes for you where you can blend things up and you can make sort of like a strawberry banana ice cream. Bananas go a long way in sweetening things, especially when they're frozen. It has a great texture as well. Starches. So whole starches like quinoa, brown rice, oats. And then, of course, you can get it from fruits and veggies. You can get it from things like spaghetti squash. Lots of squash is getting ready to be in season, right? So think about that. Tons of fresh fruits and veggies. We can get them fresh, frozen, canned, whatever it might be. Didn't know that was going to happen. Condiments. So you can make some of these. We got some good recipes for you in the recipe manual that you're going to have. It's in the resources. And then we try to, if we're going to have packaged meats, right, we just want to look at the stuff. Excuse me. Look at the stuff that we are choosing and just keep it as clean as you absolutely possibly can. It can be a challenge with breakfast meats, okay? So you just want to check those labels out. And I encourage you to give it a shot. Find some leaner breakfast meats. I know I love bacon, right? Bacon is amazing. I love lots of different types of sausage. If you can find some turkey-based sausages, they have those that are clean. Chicken-based sausages that are really good. They'll infuse them with apples and some other things. I highly encourage you to do that because you'll get a leaner protein source at breakfast and you won't bring in quite as many calories that way as well. So let's talk about meal mapping. And if we're going to look at serving sizes and ways to control for calories without counting calories. So we can use our hands, and this is not just like, everybody has a hand. We can use our hand. This is something that's practical. It is practical, but it's actually based in science. Hands can be 90 to 100% as accurate as counting calories because they're completely individualized. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of using your hands because you can take it everywhere you go. So generally speaking, for women, 1 outline of your palm size for protein at every single meal. So think like a quarter to half a plate. Guys is double that. 2 servings of veggies at every meal. So we say a fist. You could say the outline of that. Or you could say I like to say it's 3D, right? Like it's tall. So you can pile on those veggies. We're trying to get 5 fists a day. So our carbs, our starchier carbs, right? We're going to use a cupped handful. So that just made your palm a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be as big as the protein, but it's a cupped handful. And that's not piled up like our veggies are. So ideally, you want to put those around your workout. And don't forget fats. So it's easy to include healthy fats in our diet if we're eating fish, we're eating nuts, we're eating avocados. If you're cooking with olive oil, you just want to be careful because that stuff all adds up very quickly because fat is very calorie dense. But we do need a variety of fats, just like we do proteins and vitamins and minerals. It doesn't mean you need to necessarily always add a thumb size worth of fat to your meal. If you've got salad dressing, that's it. If you've got steak, there's your fat. So we don't need to be adding stuff on top. What you see on the right is what we call an anytime meal. This is what your plate should generally look like. Tons of veggies, a good solid chunk of protein, non-calorie containing drinks, and then some healthy fat, but just a small amount, right? Like if it's oil or nuts, it's the amount of your thumb, okay? Some tricks for fat loss that are also research-based, that are more behavioral and mindfulness focused, which we're going to have some education on that in your My Coach app. Some things you can do are listed on this slide. So eat slowly and very slowly, take a bite, chew it up, have a conversation while you eat, and eat until you're 80% full. Do not overstuff yourself. So for me, I can almost just eat my day away if I do not stand up. I don't know what it is. It might be something I figured out. Maybe other people are like this, but as soon as I stand up, then I'm like, oh, now I see that I ate too much. So for me, I have to get up during a meal if I want to be able to tell if I'm 80% full or not. try to save your starchy carbs for after your exercise if you can. It's not wrong to have carbs at a meal, but we can get a good amount from veggies. If you're super active, like walking, moving, lifting things all day, then carbs at most of your meals is probably okay. But if you're sitting a lot, if you're at a desk, then I don't recommend it at all. Usually try to stick those things to your post-workout meal, which would essentially be this, like, more protein on this plate, a little bit less veggies, and then you see a separate serving for that cupped handful of your starchy or carbohydrates. And then we're always going to try to choose whole foods in this challenge. If you can buy organic, that's good. You don't have to. And then, maybe don't use, if you want to lose weight, we don't use big plates. We try to keep those plates a little bit smaller. So those are just some fat loss hacks that you are welcome to use. Now, working out, you really don't have to worry about this. We've got you on this. Aim for a minimum of I'd love to see everybody getting 3 strength sessions a week, a minimum of 2. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are our strength-based sessions, and then trying to get at least 1, if not 3 Metcon sessions if you're on that 5-day-a-week plan. If you're not, then get outside and walk, go do yoga, go for a jog if it's not going to hurt any ankles or hips when you're not in the facility. Get as much movement as you possibly can. There's also something called non-exercise activity. This is so important when it comes to overall health and wellness and losing weight over time, is walking and moving as much as possible at work. Parking further away from the store. I know you've probably heard that a million times. Taking the stairs when you can. These things add up big, big time. I literally worked out once, sometimes twice a day throughout quarantine. But outside of that, I was sitting like this in front of a computer coaching people virtually. And I gained body fat because I got way less steps per day. I burned a lot less calories per day because my non-exercise activity had gone down so significantly. You guys see how I like to pace and walk around when I coach, and that was just gone because we had to shut down and go virtual. So it hit me hard, and I want to communicate that to you. It's really important that you move as much as possible when you are not exercising. Now, with this challenge, of course, we got prizes for this. We're going to announce on 10/5, so that's the Monday after the challenge ends. We're gonna do some random prizes throughout. We might have a MyZone challenge. If you don't have a MyZone belt, ask me a question about it. I'll let you know. They're amazing. They're so much fun. They give the coaches feedback. We can rack up points. We've got them in stock at Breakaway for $70. That's like our cost. We don't make any money off of that. Be happy to get you one and get you up on that TV screen up there so we can get that feedback on your heart rate. But we'll be doing different prizes, super random throughout. The top male and female who lose the most body fat percentage will get a prize. And the top male and female who gain the most muscle will get a prize. Now, you cannot win in both categories. $100 cash for each person, free BFP shirt, and a free month at BFP. So that's a very, very valuable prize for every person. So get excited. We hope that gets you a little bit competitive, or at least just helps you drive you to compete with yourself and to become the best version of you that you possibly can. So that is our clean and lean presentation. I don't actually have any other questions in the chat. So what I do want to do quickly is share a different screen with you so I can give you an idea of the other resources that you have access to. So you can still see the slide. I'm going to clear that out. Now you should be able to see my desktop background. And this is the Clean and Lean Resources folder right here. So we've got a lot more than what I showed you. You can see the copy of the challenge check sheet right here. There's actually 2 of those. They're the same. But you can put that, that's the one we wanted you to put on your fridge to help you with weekly routine. We've got our clean eating guide that we went through. This is the weekly meal map. I hope you can go ahead and just print out 4 of these like right away. And you plan out your meals for the day. If you're going to have a snack, you can put it right there, and this will help you create your grocery list as well. We've got a bulk cooking sheet of things we recommend, like proteins, sides and veggies, soups and stews, chilies, drinks, things you can prep ahead of time. The ultimate breakfast shake, essentially. So this is how to make it here, just starting from top to bottom. I'm sorry, that's just the ultimate breakfast in general. The clean and lean shake guide is right here. Same thing, start at the top, work your way down, and you get a whole meal in a shake. And if you do it right, it might actually fill you up for a little while. We got our kitchen cleanup sheet, which we didn't go through, but this is going to come through a little bit in the My Coach app. Just ways to help you get that kitchen prepped and ready to not only have the right stuff food-wise, but have what you need to pre-prep all of your food as well. Now, we have a Pinterest site with a ton of completely natural whole food recipes. Go ahead and write this down if you need it. It's going to be in your My Coach app as well. It's pinterest.com/HCRealFood. So I will give you an idea of what that looks like. So tons. Oh, okay. Breakfast, straight up veggies, protein recipes, salad dressings, soups, shakes, seafood, salads themselves, some warm drinks because it's about to be fall. I know we've got some physical stuff in here as well, but focus on the food. Lots and lots of good stuff here. Really, really good recipes that kind of help you hack that whole prep side of things as well. So that is the Pinterest page, pinterest.com/HCRealFood. Now back to these resources. I'm gonna show you one more thing and then I promise we'll finish up. This is the meal plan that we give. I've given this one several times. You could straight up follow this one. Or you can meal map from this or meal map with the meal map sheet and the Pinterest site. It's up to you. You can just flat out follow this one and you'll do really well also. And we do work leftovers into this plan, which for me is a game changer. I'm good with leftovers. Not everybody is. Also, just off the top of my hand real quick, top of my head, spaghetti squash pizza is really, really good. You need to check this out. I think it's called 5-ingredient pizza, actually. That's a really, really good one. Highly, highly recommend that one. Jeannie, you should have gotten that My Coach password. Check in your junk email or your spam, but I'll pull that up for you before we get off and I'll give you that code too. But again, you can see we've got 4 weeks full here of a meal plan. And all you got to do is, actually I've got 6 weeks on here. All you got to do is go through and locate the recipes. We've got them divided up pretty well. But there's a ton, I mean, homemade mayo, tons of breakfasts, other meals. Just really, the almond flour pancakes are super tasty. But you can see we've got like a paleo banana chocolate souffle, just ways for you to indulge a little bit. Things like this caveman crunch, you got to be careful, lots of nuts and seeds in that, so it can be pretty calorie dense. But just all clean and lean for the most part foods. Tons and tons of good stuff. I'm trying to see. Cilantro lime chicken is a good one. Here it is right here. Almost 5-ingredient spaghetti squash pizza. If you are craving pizza and you want one, I'm telling you this tastes just like it. It's so good. And every single person has said the exact same thing to me about it. The pork chops recipe is a good one. Chimichurri steak. That sauce is so good. I haven't made this one in a while. I highly recommend the chimichurri steak. Let's see. Some people like the fish tacos. I'm not a big fish taco guy. Not a big fish guy or seafood guy. Zucchini and fennel soup's been a fan favorite. Butternut squash and bacon soup. Go get it. It's so, so tasty. Especially if it's probably not going to get cold during this challenge, but you know, fall, I'm telling you, it's good. Also good chili with a twist is a good one. Slow cooker chicken enchilada soup. A lot of people like that one. Lots of good stuff in here. So I recommend all of it. All of it. I recommend all of it. Go get it. It's really, really good stuff. So those are your resources that we give you for the Clean and Lean Challenge. Pinterest page, meal plan, and then tons of other good stuff. Make sure you print out your weekly checklist, put it on the fridge, and either use the meal plan from here or print out that weekly meal map and use that as well. So that's pretty much all I've got for you. What I'm going to do now is allow, so you guys are all allowed to unmute yourselves. If you would like to unmute and ask a question, you're welcome to do that. Make sure I got everybody pulled up here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so I can get this gallery view up so I can see who I got on here. But yeah, so a few of you got your screens on, some of you don't. But if you have any questions, I mean, I'm here to answer those. Doesn't look like anybody's got anything right now. I know, Jeannie, you had asked for your My Coach password. So I'll make sure I will email that to you, actually. And I'll get it as soon as I hop off of here. But other than that, everybody, I don't see any questions coming in, so hopefully that means I did a good job. If you got any questions, make sure you get in that Facebook group, ask them there, ask in the My Coach app. Otherwise, it's time to go prep some food. You guys have a wonderful evening.